Gamers, we got sad news. One of the new developing RTS games, Battle Aces, has been cancelled. Like, just straight up cancelled. I've done a video for Battle Aces like 2 weeks ago. There was a sponsored video. I played it, I enjoyed it, and I thought the game is doing well, as in it has potential. But 14 hours ago, there was an announcement. I saw it this morning. Today, with deep regret, we're announcing that development on Battle Aces has come to an end. Creating Battle Aces has been tremendously rewarding, and we're grateful for the passion and support from our community. Unfortunately, the returns from early testing were not strong enough to support continued development. This decision was not made lightly. Battle Aces represented a bold vision. Our attempt to reimagine real-time strategy for a new generation. We set out to create something fast, tactical, and approachable while still delivering the depth that makes RTS special. Every step of the way, from internal playtests to closed betas, we were fueled by your enthusiasm, feedback, and support. From all of us at Uncapped Games, thank you for joining us on this journey. To the players who showed up match after match, to the fans who theory-crafted, shared strategies, created content, invited friends, to the testers who reported bugs, submitted surveys, and helped us improve, to the creators who lit up Twitch and YouTube with excitement and curiosity, to our community, you inspired us every day and made Battle Aces memorable. We'll always be proud of what we built in the community that formed around Battle Aces. While the game's journey ends here, the connections, ideas, and memories we have shared will remain with us forever. Thank you for being part of this adventure. Thank you for believing in our vision, all of us at Uncapped Games. So, I actually don't know too much behind the scenes of Battle Aces, so this is me purely speculating things. But I did a Battle Aces sponsored video, and again, I've played Battle Aces before in the previous 2 betas or alpha, I don't know what it was, and I really enjoyed the game. I did the sponsor stream, I really loved it. The chat loved it. People were like, oh, this is a cool game. What game is it? I'm gonna try this out. Like, the feedback overall was positive. So I don't really know what happened, but this to me seems extremely sudden. Now, the reason why it's extremely sudden is, why would you do sponsor streams with content creators 3 weeks ago and then cancel the game? To me, this doesn't seem like it was going downhill and they knew it's going to happen. Or maybe the sponsor streams with content creators was the last ditch effort. I am not sure. So I'm going to go through the post. The returns from early testing were not strong enough to support continued development. Now, was there even a payment option in Battle Aces betas? Do you guys know? For those that don't know, the way Battle Aces worked, you could basically buy a battle pass, I think, and unlock the units. Or you could just like buy units straight up / buy experience, something like that, to unlock more units, and then you put them in your deck and then you play with them. There was no paid options for beta. Okay, so that's what I thought. So the returns from early testing were not strong enough to support continued development. Now, because there was no way to pay, I am assuming they just mean the amount of players. I will say this as someone who plays RTS games quite a lot and played a lot of betas and stuff. Whenever an RTS game is announced, the first beta I feel like has the most players, right? The first beta test, because people are like, oh, what's the game about? And then a lot of people, including myself, I go, ooh, that was a cool game. I'll wait for the release, right? And I'm gonna give it a go. I don't play like every beta necessarily, unless you're like super invested and right? But a lot of people I feel like are just like, okay, that was a cool game. I'll play it when it releases, kind of thing. I don't know if they were expecting that like from beta to beta, the amount of players was going to increase. Because if there was no payment option, returns from early testing were not strong enough, what else could that mean, right? Now, from what I know, or what I read actually, Battle Aces was owned by Tencent, right? Like 100% of it. So maybe they tried this, what do you call it? Like new monetization in an RTS game, which is to buy units and to use them in games and obviously, you know, skins and stuff like that. And maybe Tencent, based on the feedback and the review from people, just thought, you know what, this is not worth it. We're not going to get our return, so let's just cut it. Because one of the main issues of RTS games in general is you cannot monetize it, or monetizing an RTS games is extremely difficult. Like extremely difficult. And here's why. RTS players and I don't mean that, I mean, I'm an RTS player, so I don't mean this is like a jab at RTS communities, but RTS players they're not cheap. They're just used to, because from when we were kids, we're used to, you go to a store, you give money, you get a game, right? That's normal. That's normal for us. You go buy a game and you have the game, okay? And this is how RTS has been for a very, very, very long time. Now, any game that's an RTS game that tries to monetize the game in any way gets severe backlash, okay? Severe. The reason for that is because we're not used to it. We're used to buying a game and getting it. We don't want to unlock units. We don't want skins. We just want to buy the game and play. And that's great. That's fine. The problem is, this is what, in a big way, has had a massive effect on RTS games and RTS games development. Because, as you know, a lot of the most popular games these days, CSGO, League of Legends, Dota, you don't buy the game and that's it. There's skins, there's battle passes, there's this and that, and they are supported through that massively. Like, they make billions of dollars, right? So the difference is, people that have started with League of Legends or Dota 2, at around that time is when these skins and these monetization systems were implemented. So a lot of those people are not used to buying a game and just playing it. That's what's normal for them. It's normal for them to pay $20 for one skin for one champion. So there was never any massive backlash for, oh, why are they putting more skins? That's insane. Because they're used to it, right? And I have seen time and time again in RTS games where whenever any type of monetization within the game, shop within the game is mentioned, people go ballistic. Yes, some games can be, like, I know people might mention some RPG games that, you know, you buy and then you play them and then that company still makes money. The difference is RTS games, let's say Age of Empires 4, you don't just make it and release it. You do patches, you do updates, you add stuff, and all that costs money. The development costs money. So Microsoft, I'm pretty sure, for example, doesn't make money on Age of Empires 4 because just buying a DLC and buying a game doesn't recoup all the costs for it. The issue with RTS games these days is that it's basically impossible to monetize, not because you can't monetize. There's a lot of things you can monetize. The problem is that people playing RTS games are extremely against it. I actually remember when Battle Aces announced the first time how they will be doing their monetization and how they will basically make money with the game, which was through these battle passes. People were like, I'm not paying for that shit. There should be a free way to unlock it. Then they had free way to unlock it, and then people complained that it was too slow and it's just pay to win game and yada yada and yada yada. And well, I guess Tencent felt like they're not going to get enough money in return or make money, and they pulled out. Now, for the people, I saw someone in the chat say, why would they pull out? They have so much money. Because they're a business, okay? If you have a donut shop and you're not making money with donuts, you're losing money, no one's going to come into your donut store and be like, bro, why are you closing? Like, make more donuts. You're like, well, I'm not profitable. They probably knew, they were aware of what people felt like about paying for those things, and they're kind of just out. I personally don't think there should ever be a pay-to-win type of monetization. And Battle Aces, I mean, they didn't have pay to win, but you're unlocking units. You're not unlocking just skins, which is obviously what people did not enjoy, did not like. But I personally would love if we could monetize like everything in AO4. And what I mean by that is not the strength of the units, but I would love if I could like buy a new UI, like just completely different UI, or buy the background picture so it's different, or you know, whatever. Like, instead of having this blue, I would love if everything was like orangish. And the thing is, I know a lot of you will say, oh, I would love that too, but the reality is a lot of people would complain, and they would receive backlash for it, for adding microtransactions and that kind of monetization in the game, even though it doesn't affect gameplay at all. I remember for a lot of games, even when RTS games add skins to the game, people complain that you can't turn them off. if you can just turn the skins off and not see them, then they wouldn't sell, because people buy skins so that not only you can see it, but the enemy can see it, right? So that's kind of ruins the point of them, right? Like StarCraft did it pretty well to an extent, right? They had skins, they had voice packs and stuff like that. But even with all of that, StarCraft 2 wasn't profitable, right? In the end, like they weren't printing money. A lot of people just didn't wanna spend money. Like, yeah, co-op commanders too. But let's be honest, if StarCraft 2 was selling twice the amount of skins and voice packs and everything else, maybe the game would still be getting development, right? But because it wasn't, it was like even or barely floating on the income from those things, there's no reason to continue development, right? And I think this is what a lot of people kind of missed the point on this one. Why I think like even in AoE 4, if there's a DLC, obviously if people have the money and the extra income or whatever to purchase DLC, because it's not about you just getting the DLC, you are potentially supporting the further development of the game. Okay, and I strongly believe that because Sultan's Ascent, because it was the most sold DLC in Age of Empires franchise, I firmly believe that the only reason we got DLCs this year is because of that. Okay, and if it did poorly, I don't think we would get more DLCs. No way you guys had such a good foundation. People just started early access / open betas and are more inclined to wait for a full release because before checking out something these days. This feels so wrong. Yeah, and I agree with that. I do agree a lot of people do wait for the full release in order to play the game. And I also do feel it's weird to not just release the game at this point. But obviously they know better about business than me, right? So, I mean, I've talked about this before, but I feel like out of all the games that have come out recently, like are in development, like Zero Space, Stormgate, Battle Aces, I don't know if there's some more. I felt that Battle Aces was the most finished game, right? Like the most ready to release, basically. What does the return from early testing not strong enough mean? Yeah, that's kind of what I was confused about. That's why I asked you guys if you could pay for stuff, because I thought you couldn't. I think it's a mix of number of players and the feedback they received from monetization. Not surprised about that at all. I tried the first beta, did the painful tutorial, and enjoyed my game, skipped following betas as I didn't want to do tutorial again and I didn't want to get my progress wiped. So one mistake that they did, in my opinion, okay, is that everyone who participated in the beta, they should have kept their progress for the units. That way you would get a way more active beta. They got skins for workers beta only? Okay, then that's great, but I still think they should have kept the progress. Because a lot of players did plan to play free to play with only experience. And if you're grinding and your experience reset in the beta or resets on release again, it's like, I get it. They're like, well, why would I play it? It's just going to reset again. This whole thing doesn't have to be written off. Releasing it as is or early access is not an option. I mean, yeah, like this is what a lot of people don't realize. It's like, why don't they just release it? Like, just release it in this state. Well, you still need people working on it. It's not like you release it and the game auto runs itself. Like, you need servers, you need people maintaining it, you need maintenances, you need updates, you need patches, and surprise Pikachu, that's not free. Like, people don't get, like, people are like, why don't you just release it and recover the money and we'll play it a little bit and that's it. Because for you to continue playing it is still probably going to cost them more money than they would have made. Like, that's what people don't get, right? If they released it now and they're like, listen, development isn't going great, people are not going to buy the game if they're like, oh, development's down the shitter. They're just going to quit, right? And even the people who buy the game, it's not going to be enough to sustain the game development. Is Tencent a majority owner in Battle Aces? This game had the juice. I have no idea why anyone would want to kill it, but I assume it's got to be some money. Person who's super out of touch. It's not a money person. It's just a business, guys. This is like, it's just business for them. That's why people love indie developers, because they like their actual games. So indie developers are owners of their games, right? Some of them obviously have investors, but they are owners of the games. They're directly involved. People developing Battle Aces, it's not theirs. They're working. They're hired to make Battle Aces. That's the difference. That's why you see like so much passion and you see so much more involvement with the developers. Yeah, and by the way, these developers like the game too. The same way indie developers love their games, Battle Aces developers, I guarantee you, loved Battle Aces. But the difference is, it's not their decision if the development will continue or not. I can't even imagine like working on a game for 3, 4, 5 years, and one day you come to work and you get an email or somebody tells you, by the way, you're all out of job. Or, you know, not even out of job. Let's say they don't get fired. Let's say they say you're all being transferred to do this. Battle Aces is over. And it's like something you work for years with other people is just flushed down the toilet. It's over. That's it. There's no more. And you can't do anything about it. It sucks. I guarantee it fucking feels awful. The game was built for the League of Legends model of selling units with new units planned every season. The core audience rejected the idea behind the game, and there's no way to change that fundamental design at that point to make a good box product like Tempest Rising. See? The core audience rejected the idea behind the game. Like I said, I remember reading threads when they announced monetization, and people were like, everyone was just shitting on it. I mean, if people think that these days you're going to sell an RTS game as a box product and that's it, you're not going to just need any more money, you're completely delusional. Now, another thing that people completely miss on is every once in a while I see this comment, it's like, well, back in my day, we bought a game and we just played it, right? Why is that not working today? Well, the reason that's not working today, and the reason it worked before, is before you bought a Warcraft 2 CD, right? You put it in your computer, you put the CD in your computer, and you play campaign, and you play single player. Or you connect 2 PCs with a cable, and you play against your friend. There's no maintenance, there's no nothing. The games you're playing today are online, and you need servers, you need maintenance, you need to prevent hacking, you need to patch the game, you need to do this, you need to do that. Money is the obvious problem. No player base means no money. RTS player base is so small now. Look at, is this Tempest Rising, I guess? It only has 3,000 players daily average, and it's considered to be a success. Another one bites the dust. I feel bad for Battle Aces. I hope the developers are not too crushed by it, and I hope they find their way and success in whatever they're doing next. Sucks for the people that were super excited for the game release. I was one of those too, to play it more. But it is what it is. What I will end this video is if you have an RTS game that you're playing, whether it's Warcraft, Starcraft, AoE 2, AoE 4, or whatever other game, support your games in whichever way you can, because this might happen to any of our games in the future. Well, Blizzard already gave up on theirs, and Microsoft so far is you know, keeping AoE 2 and AoE 4 strong, but you never know, we might be next. So, ending it on a doomer's note. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. And if you're watching on Twitch, let's keep going.